my name is Caleb Burnett, and welcome to my fourth feature film. This feature film is called War Cats. Anyway, our story takes place in Capital City, and specifically where in Capital City Supply Chain Inc. That's where our story takes place. Anyway, the visual I have right now is what an office looks like at the factory or the company. Here's what it looks like. So as you can see, we have the computer blinking on there, waiting for an input to come up. And that's just the basic structure of how this place goes. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the last three feature films, Phoebe and Snow, Chu and the Dojo Master, and Chu and the Rise of the Emperor. I hope that you all enjoyed them very much, as I personally like them a lot too. Anyway, so we've already talked about Catville before, but let's go into a little bit of history of Capital City. So Capital City is a subdivision of Catville. It's basically located further down the road. It's basically located all the way in the very back of Catville. It's basically its own separate thing. So Capital City was founded in the 1900s, basically after Capital was founded. So about 90 years after Capital was founded, Capital City was founded. And that's where a lot of rich cats have lived, and business cats have lived. And also a few shady people too. But that's mostly what happens in Capital City. It's always a hustle and bustle, getting downtown and seeing the latest things that are happening. You could either be going to Capital Mall, or you could either be somewhere in a place where you don't want to be, maybe down a shady alley. But whatever Capital City may be, it basically serves as a place for Capital. It basically serves as a subdivision for Capital, and it works really well with Capital altogether. In fact, the two places actually like each other quite a lot. Anyway, but now without further ado, let's start our story. So our story takes place in the Ellison's house. Basically, we start off with Jerry Ellison. He's a brown cat and has a pink nose. His design is much more different than that of Phoebe and Snow's, so he has like an entirely different new look to him, and it's also in a completely new art style than before. Anyway, for example, Phoebe and Snow have claws, but here they have fingers. They also have no eyeballs, just lines as their eyes. So those are some of the facial differences when it comes to Capital and Capital City, and from Phoebe and Snow to War Cats. This basically serves as like a readaptation of Phoebe and Snow, but with an entirely new look to it, and with an entirely new art style. Anyway, our story takes place in the Ellison's house, as you may have guessed. So we start with Jerry Ellison, a brown cat with a pink nose. He also has a wife named Pearl, who is a white cat, and he has three sons, James, Joseph, and Andrew. James is a white cat, Andrew is an orange cat, and Joseph is a brown cat. Overall, the five Ellison family members get along pretty well. They never really get into fights, and it's always very peaceful. In fact, it gets so peaceful that sometimes they even want to cause a bit of chaos into their own household. But whatever the case may be, they still function like a pretty good family. Anyway, so our story takes off with Jerry Ellison. He is a 30-year-old cat who's about ready to start his first job. He's been searching very desperately to get a job until he finally found the one that he could probably relate to, and that was being an office worker in a cubicle at Capital City Supply Chain Incorporated. He worked on his resume for many months, and probably for many weeks or even years. He spent countless hours preparing for interviews and wondering if he would actually get an internship. We may never really know what will happen to him in the moment to come, but whatever happens, it might be a good one. So Jerry Elson woke up, went to the bathroom, and decided to eat. For breakfast, he had some cake crunch, and yes, fun fact, Phoebe and Snow and Warcats are pretty similar to one another. They also take jabs and references at each other, so they practically reference each other in some way, like Cake Crunch is an obvious reference to Phoebe and Snow's Cake Crunch, which was back in the first Phoebe and Snow film, and in my first ever feature film. Anyway, so Jerry Elson was eating cereal, and so the other kids were. "So Jerry, are you excited for your new job?" Pearl said. "Yes, I certainly am. I'm super excited for it and I can't wait." Well that's amazing. Well, I hope you have a good day. Love you, sweetheart. That was supposed to be a kiss. "So Dad, what are you gonna do today?" "Well, today, son, I have to do a job interview, and I have a feeling that it's gonna be spectacular." That does sound pretty good. It's gonna be a office worker at Capital City Supply Chain Incorporated. It's gonna be incredibly fun. Ooh, that does sound fun. Maybe I can come along. Nah, not until you're 18. Alright, Dad. Alright, well, I have to get going. Bye. So soon after that, Jerry Elson decided to wash his face and make sure that he was super prepped for the interview. He put out on himself a brand new tie. It was a red and blue striped tie, and it was one of his favorite ties. And it was already his favorite because he had only just been wearing it for just a little bit. It was his brand new tie, and he was super ready to start the day off. Anyway, so he shoved things into his suitcase, but not in a sloppy way. He always did things in a very professional way, as he was still learning how to get professional, and he knew that his professionalism, or where it was going to be developing at, was going to be the most important aspect of getting this job. So then Jerry Elson left. He kissed his wife goodbye, and it was out the door. He got into his shiny red car and drove off. He drove for about 20 minutes. And then he came and arrived at Capital City Supply Chain Incorporated. Jerry Elson was very nervous. He had been so nervous, in fact, that he was sweating a lot, and his palms were sweaty, and they smelled pretty bad. I know, it's kind of some gross descriptions there, but whatever. Anyway, but Jerry Elson was so nervous, he was probably a little chicken at this time. Anyway, but without further ado, he walked in, and he didn't really know much about the place. Anyway, then he went up to the manager, and the manager was a man named Henry. He was wearing a red suit. He was a white cat wearing a red hat, a tiny little red hat, a pretty adorable red hat, a hotel hat. Henry said, "May I help you?" And Jerry went, "Yeah, I'm looking for... I have a job interview today, and I wonder who I can meet." Oh, said Henry, "I think you can talk over to Jason Butchford. To Jason Courtney. He's the boss of this place." That sounds pretty good. Alright, well, good luck on your interview. And by the way, my name's Henry. I might have the pleasure of meeting you, and pleasure to work with you. Thank you, Jerry Ellison said. Then he walked off. He had to figure out where the place was. After a bit of searching, he finally came to the place that he was looking for. There, he met a line of employees that were all waiting for their interviews. Anyway, just about a few minutes later, one of the interviewees had eventually finished their interview, and they waited for a response. Jerry Ellison was only 5 employees behind, so he had to wait quite a bit before his interview. During his interview, he spent an entire hour practicing what he was gonna say. Then, when the time finally came, Jason Butchford came in and said, "Next." And so, Jerry Ellison had his heart pounding. His hands were shivering. He then decided to go in. He walked up and slowly closed the door. "Hello," he said nervously. "Oh, hello. What's your name?" "My name is Jerry Ellison, sir." Jerry Ellison, eh?" Jason Courtney said. "Well, I'm Jason Courtney. I've been the boss of this place for over 27 years. Wow, that's a lot. I know. I'm currently 57. Yeah. Anyway, but then Jerry Ellison and Jason Courtney got into the interview. Jason asked Jerry a bunch of questions. So why do you want to work at Capital C Supply Chain Incorporated? Well, I think I want to work here because it's a pretty decent place, and this also seems like a really good place for me to improve on my skills of leadership. And I think I've done a bit of research on this place. I think it's absolutely gorgeous from the inside. It has pretty good architecture. I like that. Now, what are your qualifications? Well, let's see. By qualifications, do you mean strengths and weaknesses? Yeah, like what are your strengths and weaknesses? Well, let's see. My strengths are that I'm incredibly kind, I'm supportive, and I'm a pretty fast worker. My weaknesses probably have to be being super nervous and sometimes being a little disorganized. But I still try to make the most of it. That sounds good. Jerry and Jason talked for quite a lot more, and Jason finally ended the interview by saying, "Well, it was a pleasure to meet you, and I hope that you get the job. Here's my contact information. Expect a response in about 3 days to a week." "Okay," Jerry Ellison said, "I will." So then Jerry Ellison came back home. Then he pounded on the door and came crying. He was honestly gonna fail the interview because he was so nervous. The next days followed, and Ellison was not feeling the best. He was always kind of down. Pearl tried to cheer him up, but it seemed like it was no use. Eventually, fate came around, and after 3 days, Jerry Ellison got a letter from Capital C Supply Chain Inc. Incorporated. The letter was from Jason Courtney. Jason Courtney had wrote the letter, and he wrote these words, and as Jerry Ellison opened the letter, he read these words. "Dear Mr. Ellison, I'm pretty glad and I'm pretty proud to announce that you have been selected as to being employed into Capital C Supply Chain Incorporated. We have found your profile be profoundly amusing, and also found pretty good, and it makes you stand out from our applicants. Therefore, we've decided to hire you. Work will officially start the day tomorrow. Anyway, I hope that this letter finds you well. Sincerely, and take care, Chase employee. Then, Jerry Ellison was jumping up and down. Woo-woo! Jerry was so excited about this news, so he spread it to the rest of his family. Pearl overheard the news, and she said, "Wow, that's great. I can tell that you're gonna have a very great time at this new company." "Yeah, I think I sure will." Jerry was even starting to cry a little bit. Anyway, then when it came time at dinner, the 5 family members all congratulated Jerry on his big win into Capital C Supply Chain Incorporated. It was a monumental success for him, and Jerry knew that there was nothing that was going to stop him now. He felt as he was on top of the world, and he finally had achieved his dream job. You see, Jerry Ellison had been looking for jobs for 10 years, but was quite unsuccessful. He tried every single job in Capital, from being a yarn employee to being a bathroom cleaner, and countless other things. He even tried being a teacher, a clown, a shark guy, and countless other things. But no matter how hard he tried, the interviews always ended with either slamming a door or no response. That was how it always felt like for Jerry. Until now, this was his first official real job, and he was super incredibly looking forward to it. Now, it was time for Jerry to go rest, and hopefully shake it off quite a little bit, before he could go work fully fledged tomorrow. Then, the next day hit, and Jerry woke up super happy. Jerry rushed out of bed, went to the bathroom, and did his usual morning antics. He went to the kitchen and decided to have some K-Crunch once again. This was one of his favorite cereals, and practically maybe even his only favorite. He had tried others, but out of all the ones he had, K-Crunch was his favorite. In fact, K-Crunch was actually pretty popular in Capital, and still is today. Anyway, as always, the boys always went out to school. Anyway, then it was time for Jerry to head out the door once again. But before he did, he washed his face and did other things. He did his last minute routine things, and he packed up his suitcase full of things. And of course, he didn't shove it in like a aggressive person would. He did it nice and neatly, just like how a professional person should do it, and just like how every human on Earth should do it too. Anyway, sorry about my little rant about how to be professional. But then Jerry Ellison finally left and went out the door. He got in his shiny red car, and he was officially ready to start his first day of work. He drove in Cat C Street to be exact. And from there, he drove on for 20 minutes until reaching back at Capital C Supply Chain Inc. This is where he worked at now. At this point, he got out of his car and got his suitcase together. He then closed the door and then went on in. Henry greeted Jerry once again. "Hello, Jerry," Henry said. "Oh, hello, Henry," Jerry said. Anyway, I think I may have got that mixed up. Anyway. But basically, Jerry now went to Jason for instructions. Hello, fellow employee. Welcome back." Jerry was super excited to be there. Anyway, so today, you'll be working in room 573. That's on the 5th floor, and it's the 73rd room overall. Jerry was a little bit intimidated seeing that it was going to be on the 5th floor. But nonetheless, he was actually pretty excited to do that. Anyway, at that point, Jerry got on the elevator and went to the 5th floor. After about a minute of elevator music, and after a bit of the elevator going off, he finally made it at the 5th floor. At the 5th floor, he was greeted by rooms 501 and 502. Jerry had to walk quite a long way. After walking it, anyway, this is where he started to walk. 503, 504, Jerry was still going. 505, 506, 507, 508, 509, 510, 511, 512, 513, 514, 515, 516, 517, 518, 519, 520, 521, 522, 523, 524, 525, 526, 527, 528, 529, 530, 531, 532, 533, 534, 535, 536, 537, 538, halfway there. Jerry thought. 539, 540, 541, 542, 543, 544, 545, 546, 547, 548, 549, 550, 551, 552, 553, 554, 555, 556, 557, 558, 559, 560, 561, 562, 563, 564, 565, 566, 567, 568, 569, 570, 571, 572, and here we are. Jerry is at last 573. Jerry used a key to get the room open. When he opened the room, it was a completely new experience. Basically, the office had an old computer, a computer that had 4 sockets in it. These were used to connect things like headphones, and as well as our equipment. It also had an old-style look, as these were computers that they had been using since the 1980s. At this point, it was in the 2000s, the early 2000s, so the computers must have been a decade old. After that, Jerry decided to set up his office. He put some of his stuff in there and decided to head out for a bit. But anyway, he wanted to do this so that way he could get around and meet some of the other employees. So Jason spotted him. "Hey Jerry, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just going to meet some of our employees." "Oh sure," Jason said. "Here, let's give you a tour." So then, Jason gave Jerry Ellison a tour of Capital C Supply Chain Incorporated. "Alright, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jerry Ellison. And now we're going to show you the wonderful works of Capital C Supply Chain Incorporated." Anyway, the tour started off in the welcome room, which was basically the lobby. Then they climbed up, then they went on floors. The first floor, the second floor, the third floor, the fourth floor, the fifth floor, the sixth floor, the seventh floor, the eighth floor, the ninth floor, the 10th floor, the 11th floor, and then the 12th floor. Each of the 12 floors had their own meeting rooms, and they were thousands of cats, about 2,226 cats that worked in Capital C Supply Chain Inc. Some of these included Sam Butcher, which was one of Jerry Ellison's high school friends, Dr. Alex Alkali, a blue cat scientist who is into physics, and who always wears his flimsy green goggles wherever he goes. Next up came Phil, a purple cat with a mustache, and that was mostly it, but he's also a fantasy nerd. There were still countless of other cats, but the environment was so colorful. There was vibrantness everywhere. Everyone had some very good times in Capital C Supply Chain Inc. No one ever really got into fights, and things were much more smoother than some of the other areas of the city, specifically where the shade alleys were. Capital C had a place called Shade Alley, but that was not really a good place at all, and the capital city employees would never actually go there. That was a place for bummers. Anyway, Jason and Jerry continued the tour, and they started meeting as many people as possible. At that point, the tour had finally ended. At that point, he had shown to Jerry all the possible rooms and practically everything that he could spot. It had everything that it could imagine. A swimming pool, a gym, and countless other things. It was practically like something like a YMCA, but with Catville in it. Kind of like a Catville YMCA. Anyway, but kind of like a Catville gym. Kind of like a Catville themed fun park. Anyway, then the tour officially ended, and Jerry was about to set off, but as he was about to set off, he bumped into someone. The worker he bumped in was Gerald E. Cliftono. Cliftono was a very, very old employee. He had been in the company ever since the 1940s. He spoke in a very clear, raspy voice, and he was around in his late 80s, early 90s. I there, little fella. And Jerry said, "Hello. What's your name?" I'm Gerald. Mr. Cliftono. Call me that." And Jerry called him Mr. Cliftono. And he was also quite a tall cat. Anyway, Jerry then tried to move on, but then he bumped into another cat, and this one was a cat named Sam Butcher. They didn't recognize each other at first, but then they gasped, "I know you from high school!" They both went, "So how's it been going, Sam? Getting good grades?" Well, actually, why should I be saying getting good grades? Because I'm a cat, and I also work and I have a job. So who the heck even needs grades? Oh, right. I meant to say, how's your, things been going? Oh, my life, it's been going very great, man. It's like a miracle living every day. Living in the presence of Catville and all the other things that we live in life. I know, I like Catville too, especially Capital City. I grew up in Catville and I moved to Capital City. It's a wonderful place, you know? Yeah, I agree. Sam and Jerry talked for quite a bit, but then they eventually had to go back to work. Jerry then went back to his office in room 573 and closed the door. Now it was time for him to actually start working. He decided the first thing he should ever do was to boot up his computer and see what was on there. He booted up the old 1980s computer, and it loaded. It had a terminal built into it. Jerry didn't know how to use the terminal. However, thankfully, there was an old manual book for the computer. And so Jerry Elson was able to figure out using the help of the manual. This manual was published in 1988. It also contains some old ads and some relatively old software on there. Some of them being ClickC, which was a work-based software that Capital City employees had been using since the late 80s. Anyway, so since it was a 1980s computer, it practically had ClickC on there, and not much else. There were a few games, but most of them were just either Cat Tetris or something like that. Anyway, so Jerry booted up his computer, and the first thing he decided to do was check his email, as that's always quite important for me at first. So he checked his email, and he found that there was going to be a meeting at 10 a.m. today. He looked at the time, and it was about 9:30. He figured that he should probably wait around for 15 minutes before going to the meeting. So then, he went to the meeting at 9:45 a.m., and that's when he officially departed. He left off and took a great course of action with him. He grabbed his suitcase, wondering what this was about. This was technically a little meeting, and this was a get-together for all the new employees who had just been accepted into Capital C Supply Chain Incorporated. Jerry was super thrilled, anyway, but the one thing that he could not stand was that it was on the lobby. Jerry didn't mind that much, but he still had to wait another minute with elevator music. Anyway, and so on. That's supposed to be a reference to a phone jingle. Yeah, that was the jingle I heard for Virginia National Bank. I like that jingle a lot. Anyway, but basically, he went back and he found the lobby again. After hearing some elevator music, hence, Jerry finally made it back to the lobby, and there he found some new cats waiting at the lobby too. And Jason was about to start the meeting. "Hello everyone," he said. "Welcome to Capital C Supply Chain Inc., and this is your orientation." "Woo!" every cat yelled. Jerry also yelled too. He was generally very excited for this, and so was the other cats too. Anyway, then they all went to a big meeting at the lobby. They went to the lobby meeting room, and that's where they had their big first meeting. In that big first meeting, they all went around in a room, and they introduced themselves. Jerry introduced himself relatively early, then he was followed by other cats too. The other cats introduced themselves as well, and it seemed like things were going pretty well. Soon afterwards, Jason gave all of them an assignment, and that was to participate in at least one event out in today. So Jerry set himself out to do one thing. After the meeting was over, he went back to Sam and decided to play a game with him. However, Sam was busy, so he met Fido, and Fido taught Jerry how to play a fantasy game called Catville Dungeons & Dragons. Anyway, so after they played Catville Dungeons & Dragons, or CD&D, Jerry Ellison decided to head back to his office. He then got a donut soon after. Anyway, but not much really happened. Work continued as usual, and things were pretty good for his first day. It was now 5 p.m., and it was time for Jerry Ellison to head home. He went on home and went back into his shiny red car. He then headed back home and landed back into his house. He opened the door and closed it behind him. "Hello, honey," he said. "Jerry," Pearl screeched with excitement. "I'm so glad for you." "I know, honey, I am. I know you are." Oh, honey. Anyway, but Pearl celebrated with Jerry, and so did his 3 sons. They all celebrated with some spaghetti and meatballs. They all had spaghetti and meatballs, and it was all pretty well. After dinner, Jerry decided to tell everyone about how work was, and he told them a story. This is the story of how I myself got a job. And so he told the story. He told about the times he had always been rejected. But now, this was no longer happening to him, and he was now sort of like on top of the world, like King of the Kong. Anyway, then it was time for the kids and Pearl and Jerry to go to bed. He tucked them all goodnight and gave them little kisses. Anyway, he gave them all little kisses, and then he gave his wife a big kiss. Anyway, and thus it was off for the night, and everything in Capital C and in Capital remained silent, and stayed there for throughout the night. Next morning was a second good day for Jerry Ellison. He woke up, went to the bathroom, and then he decided to eat another bowl of Kitty Crunch. That was his favorite cereal. Anyway, he then went off to work. Anyway, now it was his second day of work. He'd kinda already gotten used to how Capital C Supply Chain Inc. would have functioned. He now knew everything about the room, and knew everything about the cats. Anyway, but at that point, Jerry had decided to spend a little day off. And in fact, cats who completed their challenge were allowed to spend at least one day off. So Jerry decided to spend his best day with Sam. He knocked on Sam's door, which was on room 575, a door across. Anyway, he knocked on the door, and so Sam entered. "Hello," Sam said. "Jerry." "Hello," said Jerry. "Oh, hello, Sam." "Hello," said Sam. Anyway, the two cats greeted each other for quite a while, until they finally came up with a plan. They would spend the morning in Sam's room, and the afternoon in Jerry's room. Overall, things went pretty well that day. Jerry and Sam decided to go out to the pool for quite a bit. They sort of drowned. Well, they didn't really drown, but they made sure not to drown in the pool, as the water was quite a bit deep. Jerry and Sam had a lot of fun together. At that point, they decided to brush themselves off out of the water and get a bit of ice cream for themselves. After ice cream, it was to Jerry's room, and they played some games. They played games like Super Slime Combo and Truck Driving, all of which were junk games that Jerry and Sam enjoyed. They also liked reading comics, and they decided to read some Captain Cat comics. After the Captain Cat comics, they ultimately decided to call it a day, and they left work a bit early. Jerry and Sam were very relieved now that they didn't have to work that one day, and that they got a day off. Jerry was thrilled, and Sam was also very thrilled at this point. They were having the best time of their lives together. Anyway, before they left, there was a blue cat with goggles. Dr. Alex Alkali lured Jerry and Sam into something. He tapped on their shoulders. "Hello," he said. "Hello, Sam." Hello there, said Jerry. "What's your name?" "My name's Alex Alkali. I'm the lead scientist and researcher at Capital C Supply Chain Inc. I just happen to know that I will want to my newest experiments." "That sounds pretty good. What are they about? Well, I'll come and show you. So Jerry, Sam, and Alex went to his own room, where in his laboratory, that is. And that's where they met. And that's where they met a group of leading scientists. They went into the science wing, and there they found hundreds of scientific cats there, and all doing things like experiments. Some of them were defying gravity, some of them were doing astrophysics, chemistry, biology, astronomy, any branch of science. And any branch of science that they could do, Capital City Inc. had it. It had all. It was the one and only stop shop for knowledge and learning. Anyway, Alex said, "This is my latest experiment, and this is a quantum physics generator." Alex turned on the light, and it instantly generated new matter. New matter? That's like impossible, Sam said. "Well, I built this machine that can instantly defy the law of physics." Jerry and Sam were profoundly stunned to hear that. It seemed like as though they had just been living in a new reality. Jerry said, "This should definitely get published." "Yeah, publish it, man," Sam said. "Okay, maybe I will," Alex said. They tried out a few other experiments, but that was just the main one. Soon after, Sam and Jerry decided to check out some of the other department wings before they could officially head out. They seemed to have a very unproductive day today, but today was going to be a very productive day as of now, because now having seen the experiment, they wanted to test out more and see more of Capital City Supply Chain Inc. Soon after, they went into the environmental justice department. In the environmental justice department, they were about 100 cats or so, and they were all solving issues like how to get rid of plastic, how to stop light pollution, and stuff like that. As well, they also saw a giant model of the Catville globe, which showcased the current Catville population, both in Catville and Capital City, as well as across the world, like in New Cat City, and countless other cities like that. It was basically stunning before their eyes, and they instantly knew that from the beginning. Sam and Jerry decided to go out and try some other activities. Then next they went into the robotics section. It had about 100 cats, and most of the cats were gray color, as not as to be discriminatory or racist, but most of the cats in the robotics department were generally gray. I'm just pointing that out there. Anyway, whatever the case may be, they were all pretty innovative at their time. They had a lot of fun things to do, and they were instantly top of their class. Most of them went to Catville's elite university, and it was ultimately a great place to go. They had a lot of fun there, and they joined multiple fraternities. The robotics cats were working on a new project. This is one in which it was led by a orange cat named Roland. And from there, he decided to have a robot, and it would perform these magic tricks. And that was just only the part of the beginning. He was developing a new robot called Robot Eye, which would allow for a robot to literally copy off of a human being, or a Catville being, if you will. And from there, it would perform any possible thing that it could ever imagine. Jerry and Sam continued to walk around. They went into the mathematics department, which was full of math nerdy cats. They went into the animal department, which would take care of animals, anything that you could think of: beavers, snakes, rats. I don't really like snakes or rats. Anyway, but they visited those other places, and they also visited practically every single department ever, ranging from robotics to physics to manufacturing, to electricity, as well as engineering. It was practically all in one. It was kind of like a campus, if you will, like a college campus. Picture Cadville City Supply Chain Incorporated as like a big college campus. And that's exactly what it kind of was. It was this big campus and this big place where there were cats from all different across the globe. They were cats from all across the globe, and it was very amazing to have them all come together to one. They formed together in unity, and that was probably the best part of all. And that's what made Capital City Supply Chain Inc. stand out from amongst our other companies out there. They were practically a global leader for their time, ever since their debut in the 1930s. They had a bit of hardship before then due to the Great Depression. They still managed to overcome their successes and failures. And their success was still growing and growing. In fact, they were having a special award ceremony to celebrate the 70th anniversary of Capital City Supply Chain Inc., or the company. Everyone was invited: former members, former employees, as well as families. Even deceased people were allowed, which may sound a little bit weird, but basically, they were allowed to come there and have their will signed. Basically, they were allowed, and they could be there posthumously. Anyway, that was the big event that Jerry was looking forward to. And he was looking forward to that. That was going to be on Friday, one of Jerry's favorite days of all time. With all that said, Jerry and Sam decided to head out the front door. And now it was time for them to head back home. "Well," said Jerry, "I guess I'll see you tomorrow." "Oh, I definitely will," said Sam. "Good luck, man." "Alright, bye," Jerry said. And so, they went off with their cars, and they headed on home. Jerry was greeted once again by Pearl, and Jerry told Pearl all about his adventures so far. He told them about how they had went to the pool, they went to an aquarium, a playground. They talked about how they went to the robotics department, the nature department, and the computer department. Practically, Jerry and Sam had explored everything and all they ever wanted to. Jerry was completely omniscient of Capital City Supply Chain Inc. It was practically his favorite place now, and he had grown so deeply into it over the last day or two. That didn't stop. It was kind of like his everlasting love for work. But that didn't really have a big impact on Jerry. Jerry had big impact on the company as he promoted positivity and leadership. And already in the last few hours, basically, he was deemed to be eligible, and he could even be awarded to win an award at the Capital City Supply Chain Inc. awards festival. It was a festival where they would award Cats employees with awards, basically if they had outstanding qualities. For example, someone could literally get the worst worker award, or someone could literally get the best job award. But as silly as it does sound, and how some sound a little bit derogatory than to others, it seemed like a pretty fun place for Jerry. He was very willing to deal with the event. Jerry then told Pearl, Joseph, James, and Andrew about all that he had done today. And he told them every aspect of the story. And he was practically like the ominous person, the one only God of Capital C, and that he knew everything about it. That was his favorite part of the day, and so far, it was only gonna get better and better with the new adventures that he would have in mind. Then, afterwards, we sat down and watched a family movie called The Office Cats. It was basically a parody of Catstein. Basically, it's a reference, so you probably get it. Anyway. But after quite a bit, they then head back upstairs and decide to take some medicine, and they decide to have some bedtime. At that point, Jerry kissed to his children one by one. And he also kissed to his wife, Pearl. And now it was finally time to turn off the lights. He turned off the lights and the lamp, and the room was dark. The only thing that was left in the room was his wife, Pearl, and the darkness, the black void of darkness. For Jerry's dream tonight, he was dreaming about winning an award, and that seemed like a pretty reasonable thing to do. He had definitely worked much harder, and he was desperately wanting to get an award and get recognized, as he never had that much recognition into his entire life. Anyway, but Jerry was super excited, and he knew that things were only going to get better from there if he could continue his positivity, leadership, optimism, and other profound qualities. It was now the next day. Jerry had woke up very refreshed, now ready to start his third day of work. For breakfast this morning, he decided to have something a little bit different. He made himself an omelet. So he had an omelet and he ate that up. He then brushed his teeth, went to the bathroom, and took a shower, and then got his stuff as usual. He basically did all the same things he had been doing over the last few days. He was very excited this day, seeing what day 3 could hold for him. Then, Jerry unlocked the door and closed the door behind him. It was time for him to get in his car. So he got in his car and drove to Capital City Supply Chain Inc. He was happy at first, but then he heard something unusual. He heard a shriek, and he heard yelling. He wondered who it was coming from. Jerry looked around frantically, seeing who was possibly yelling at this possible moment. And it turns out it was Jason Courtney, and he had been having a very difficult conversation with Jim Walkley. Okay, said Jason. Now where the heck is the papers? But I don't have the papers. Well, guess what? You're fired, Jason said. Jerry was stunned. He couldn't believe that just because that a cat could make a simple mistake could possibly get fired. How does that even happen? Jerry was trying to figure out. He went back and he started to cry. He went to room 573 and frantically closed the door. Then he stopped tearing up, feeling like he was acting too childish for his time. Then he got on his email and did his typical thing. Then Jerry decided to confront Jason. Yes. Hello, Jason. Is it okay if I talk to you for a moment? Oh, sure. What is it? I want to talk to you about what happened this morning. Oh, this morning? You see, I was just... Okay, I admit. I yelled at someone, and I may not be the best person to do that. But... I think I have some issues. This is where the movie starts getting really tense. Now what? Well, since you started to tear up, I had a very rough morning. My car broke down, and I had to walk clearly all the way to here. Seriously, all the ticking way here. Yeah, that can be kind of a rough day. Yeah, it sucks. Like it really sucks. I know. So, and why did you get mad at Jim? Well, I decided that I didn't want to fire him at this point now, because he just made a simple mistake. I've actually given him a day off. Actually, I came back and I basically rehired him once again, and things are much more better now. So he's officially back in the business, but I still feel pretty down, just because I let simple mistakes slide. Oh, don't worry, Jerry said. I think you'll be okay. So Jason's calmed down, and Jerry said that right to his face. The two cats stood in silence for a bit, wondering about what would happen next. Jason was very relieved at this point, and he started to reconcile with Jim. Anyway, but meanwhile, Jerry was still frantic. He was worried about what tomorrow was gonna hold. Tomorrow was the award ceremony, where they would get awards like, are you ready for this? The Worst Worker Award and the Best Job Ever Award. That's literal. That's literally literal. Anyway, but Jerry was a little worried about that, because he didn't want to end up like that. He decided that the best thing to do was to work a bit since he hadn't done much of that in actual practice. Done that to his employees, but never in the actual workplace. So Jerry decided that he was going to put his skills in action. The first thing he decided to do was to handle a difficult person. He noticed someone having a very rough day, so he went up to them and said, "Hello." They basically disregarded him. "I can see that you're upset," Jerry said. "Well, let me fix this." The customer eventually felt better, and Jerry right then and there had demonstrated some good leadership skills. And some good coping skills too. He was actually on the urge of maybe yelling at them, but he decided that he didn't want to, because he would definitely lose his job if he ever did that. Then came lunchtime, and Jerry sat next to Sam and Alex. "Are you guys excited about the award tomorrow?" "Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be very great," Alex said. "I think I'm gonna win the Best Scientist Award." "That sounds On the inside, Jerry was sort of jealous about Alex, just because he was a super talented, smart person. But Jerry, on the other hand, didn't really have any optimal qualities. Meanwhile, for Sam, he had already been working, and he had been working on a big project of his. This is basically a new and improved version of Clixie, and Sam himself was indeed a software engineer. Anyway, so Jerry felt quite alone at this. He didn't really have anyone to relate to, so he had to figure out what he was gonna do next. And he spent the next few days, and he spent the next few minutes thinking about what he was gonna do. He left lunch early. Instead, he was going to focus on his best qualities, and in a way to present them in the best way possible. He tried very hard for the next few minutes to think of something that he could do generous. For example, some of the things he could do include helping out with the trash and cleaning up his plates. He soon realized that could have been just enough. And we honestly just don't know for sure, but Jerry tried his absolute best, so that way he could win one of the best awards possible. But even then, who knew what he was gonna accomplish? So Jerry went home, and he was quite silent after that. He didn't really speak to anyone. He was just focused on getting an award. But he soon realized that maybe getting an award isn't all the big deal. I think it's also about the experience, Jerry thought. If I experience something and it makes me feel good, that's like a good memory to have. Jerry was absolutely right. He could just remember anything he ever wanted to. For example, he remembered all the times that Sam ever smiled to him. He remembered all the times that Alex ever helped him with his math equations. And he always remembered Jason, the one that he loved the most of all. Jerry had a lot of friends of his time, and he was also a well-liked popular cat in Capital City. He practically was the one man of Capital City, and no one could ever take that status away from him. Anyway, but Jerry realized that he didn't really have to carry all this big weight on his shoulder. Instead, he let them come out one by one. And he slowly learned who he was and who he'd become. He tried his very best to know what his purpose was. He then soon found his purpose, but it was still a secret to anyone who ever knew. Because to him, he just seemed like an ordinary cat. But now he wasn't really gonna be ordinary anymore because of his generous deeds. Whatever the case may be, Jerry still thought about this for an incredibly long time. He then went home and drove home. He parked his shiny red car in the street, and actually in the driveway. He then came home and didn't say a word. Pearl was often very worried. Pearl and Jerry were good support buddies to each other. They had their big crushes since high school. They had their big kisses since high school. They had their big relationships since high school. So Pearl said, "What's the problem?" "Well, I honestly don't think I'm good enough." "Don't say that, honey. I believe you are good enough. Heck, you were destined to get that award, and you know that it's gonna be a wonderful day of your life." You're right. Pearl was absolutely smiling at the time. Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, I suppose I better get some dinner and stuff like that. What's for dinner tonight? Tonight for dinner we're having some steak. And to top it all off, we're having some mashed potatoes. That sounds really good. Yeah, I know. Hey, you should really put this work thing behind you, because I can hear that it's putting a lot of stress on you. Thank you, honey. Well, how about we go down and get some dinner, shall we? Oh, sure. So Pearl and Jerry went down for dinner, and so did the kids. They all had some pretty fun times, and Jerry talked to Joseph, James, and Andrew about what he was thinking about. He was thinking that he was not really a good enough cat for anything, but he was really encouraged by his sons that he was indeed something. He was indeed something extraordinary. Those words have been around for Jerry for quite a long time. No one ever seems to put him down. Then, Jerry decided to take a bit of a little walk. He took a bit of a walk, but while he was down there, he realized something was off. Some guy was out there doing the wrong thing. He saw someone being bullied. So Jerry decided to take off his headphones and decided to confront the bully. He tried to stop the physical altercation between the two kids, but he ended up getting punched in the heart. And he was badly hurt. Sure. The bully did survive and went away, but Jerry was still injured. In fact, he had a big bruise on his heart. He couldn't really walk over, so he called for the 911. Then, bad news broke that Jerry had indeed had a broken heart valve, and he had to go through heart surgery. This would be a profound devastation, as he would unfortunately miss the big award ceremony at Cavill Food Supply Chain Inc. But he did do what was right. Jerry then spent the rest of his time and at the night at the hospital. Then the big award ceremony came. Everyone was getting confused about where Jerry was. He should be here by now. Actually, I heard that he's gone into a heart incident, and he's going through some heart surgery. Everyone started crying for him, realizing that how could someone literally have something that so bad happen to him? It was like being pushed out of the mud. At that time, Jason tried to confront everyone, but it was too great to bear. Jason then got on to the award ceremony. Alright everyone, he said, welcome to the 2022 award ceremony for Capital City Supply Chain Inc. I'm your leader, Jason Courtney. And so the other cats did an introduction. The award ceremony went one by one. Some of the awards included Best Scientific Research Paper, which went to Mr. Frolicky. Then it went to Best Robotics Engineer, which was Mr. Davis. The list went on and on, with titles like Best Artist, Best Commercial Designer, Best Product Manager, Best, as well. There were also some firsts, but there was one award called a Special Achievement and a Special Recognition Award, and this was an award that was specifically designed only for who could it be? The award ceremony finished up. People would have to break the profound news that Jerry didn't win anything. He actually kept it a secret, and he decided to deliver it to him one day. So, do you feel bad about Jerry? Oh, I definitely feel bad about him, especially heart surgery. That's always real scary. I know. Real scary. Say, do you want to write a message to him? Oh, that would be splendid. Come on, let's go write a message to him. Let's go cheer him up. So then the three cats decided to write messages to Jerry. Jason, profound, heartfelt letters about Jerry and all the good things that he had done to him, that they had done to him, that he had done to them. They spent countless minutes crafting and revising letters, and then all gave to Jerry's mailbox and put in a big sack. As well, over 2,000 employees also joined it. Jerry was gonna get letters by over 2,225 cats and employees. Practically, if we include all the possible ones and all the former ones, he would have gone over 3,000. And that's mostly. So there's 2,225 employees and about managers. So over 300, over 3,000 now. Meanwhile, back in the hospital, Jerry was still recovering. However, it was slowly getting better and better every day. It took about a week to recover. When Jerry finally got back, he was amazed to see a giant sack of mail near the door. And this giant mail sack was basically for him. And this was filled to the brim with countless letters about people who knew Jerry and who had heard about him. He got the bag out and put inside. He then put inside and he started reading the letters one by one. Jerry had now fully recovered and was now able to do normal functions again. Anyway, so he opened some of the letters. He opened some from all class. Here's what some of them said. Dear Jerry, I've had a pleasure meeting you, and I hope that we continue to meet each other in the near future. Dear Jerry, I know you're a pretty heartfelt person, and it shocks me every day that you're always so kind, and you're always so there for me. I remember the time in which you helped me through a bad day, and you're practically like a savior in my life. Jerry was really heartfelt at that one. He then read some more and more. But the one he was particularly left on was Jason's. He opened it up and read these words. Dear Mr. Ellison, I have some very good news for you. You have just been awarded a Special Achievement and Special Recognition Award at the Worker Awards at Capital Supply Chain Incorporated. I am sending home to you a plaque as well. You may have already gotten the letters, but we hope that you enjoyed the 3,000 letters, the 3,000 plus letters of what we have given to you and offered to you. We have done this so that way we could support you. I also feel like you were a good candidate for it overall, because you were generally very kind to everyone, and that's what makes a good employee at Capital C Supply Chain Incorporated. You've practically been the primary example of how this company should function. You're clearly one of a kind, and you should keep it up, young man. You should keep it up, and hopefully one day achieve your lifelong dreams. I believe your dreams are already starting to be achieved, but who knows how many more you may have of them in your life. But whatever the case may be, you are a light to this world. You are a light to Capville and this company, and to Capville C. You practically light up the world with your smiles, your positive energy, and countless other good things. I hope that this letter finds you well, and I hope that you have fully recovered at this point. I know it was a little hard the last few days, but I hope that you're doing much better now. And we want to know that we all care for you and we all love you. Sincerely, Jason Courtney, your boss. Jerry was crying at that moment, but in a happy cry. Then that evening, that night, Jerry and the family, the Ellison family, sat down and started reading some of the letters together. They had a lot of laughs, a lot of cries, and a lot of heartfelt messages. Jerry was honestly unsure where to start, so he basically sent out 3,000 letters and over 3,000 letters to each of the people that supported him in every step of the way, the people that gave him the letters. He was very heartfelt and was a very kind and generous person. His family started sealing gifts and started sealing papers together. After that, Jerry got a phone call. "Hello," he said. "Oh, hi, Jerry," said Jason. "We have a big surprise for you." "Ooh, where is it?" It's at the company." "Ooh, that sounds good." Soon after, Jerry and his family soon rushed over. They closed the door, and they went into Jerry's shiny red car, and there they listened to some Capville tunes. Mostly from some Capville hip-hop music, and some Capville rock music. They then arrived at Capville C Supply Chain Incorporated. This is where Jerry was gonna get a big reward. So he walked in, and there were people everywhere, across all 12 floors, and all over 3,000 Cats employees who had supported Jerry in every step of the way. "Surprise!" they all yelled, and they screamed to the top of their lungs. Jerry was a little startled at first, but he soon liked it because he knew that these people deeply care about him. In fact, he probably always knew that these people care about him, no matter what. No matter what the situation or circumstances might be, they always cared about him no matter what. Jerry and his family were treated to a lot of guests and a lot of greetings. It was quite a lot trying to keep up with over 3,000 cats and people. But they soon got over it and tried one by one. Then, Jerry was awarded at the very end the plaque. It read, quote-unquote, "To Jerry Ellison, Special Achievement and Special Recognition Award to Outstanding Performance Behavior and Positive Attitude, and that aligns with Capville C Supply Chain Inc.'s motto and ethnicity and ethics." Jerry was very heartfelt at this, so he decided to give them all a handshake. He decided to give Jason a handshake, but before he did that, he also wanted to give Jason a hug. So after Jason gave him a hug, Jerry gave him a hug, and everyone was in heartfelt awe. The other employees started hugging Jerry one by one. It was hug after hug after hug, and this continued for quite a few hours, but it was enough for Jerry, and his family didn't really mind waiting at all. They actually enjoyed it in every step of the way. no matter how long or how ridiculously long it could be. Then it was finally time to head back home. And Jason said to him, "So, will you be back tomorrow?" "Oh yes, back tomorrow. It'll be very great." And so Jason waved to him goodbye, and Jerry waved to him goodbye, and that was the end of their story. And now it was time to go back. Jerry went home, and so did his family. They got out of his shiny red car and closed the doors. Then at that point, he started showcasing it to everyone. He had been truly called a real hero because he stood up for bullying and he stood up for what was right. Even if he had to suffer some physical injuries, he was actually still recovering. He was always resilient in every sense of the word. Whenever there was a big challenge that would sometimes come and crush him, he always knew what to do at that moment, and that was one of the key aspects of Jerry's abilities. That's what made Jerry Ellison so special, and the Ellison family so special, is that they were resilient, and they were all like interconnected. However, they all had different abilities. For example, Joseph was super into intelligence, and he could memorize the entire periodic table, while James was into video games, and was often very creative. Andrew, on the other hand, was more of a nature person, and was very into nature. He had a best friend named Elliot, which was an orange cat, and from there, he would go on walks with him, and things would always be very nice. Elliot was a good friend to Joseph, and to James and Andrew, specifically Andrew, of course. Anyway, but the Ellison family were all surrounded by people that they knew and they loved and cared about them. And that's what made the Ellison family incredibly special. The Ellison family was very proud of Jerry, and so to celebrate, they decided to have a birthday cake for him. Not because it was his birthday, but to have a celebratory cake, so that way he would remember this moment and all the hard work and things that he had accomplished. They ate some cake, and it was pretty good. It was in fact a chocolate ice cream cake. So they all ate that, and then it was time to brush your teeth as always, because ice cream cake isn't really good for you. So basically, now they went upstairs and brushed their teeth. Anyway, after they brushed their teeth, they decided to watch a bit of TV, but they ultimately left a bit early because the boys had school tomorrow. And for Jerry, he had work tomorrow, and for Pearl also worked tomorrow. Pearl also worked, and she worked at a fashion designer. She worked as a fashion designer for a capital city beauty shop called Lamar. Anyway, but after that, the cats all went to bed and they turned off the lights, and that was officially the end of that day. Then Monday came. It was now Monday morning. The cats woke up as usual, and things went a lot more better. Jerry had fully recovered, and he was super looking forward to looking at Jason again, and going back to work after a while. It was gonna be his first normal day back, and Jerry was super excited about it. Meanwhile, as for the boys, they all did their homework last night, and it was about math homework. They tried their very best with their homework, and ultimately they all got A's on it. But Joseph especially got A+, and Joseph, since he was the smartest of the cats, he would quite literally teach the other cats and make sure that they got their homework right, and that way they wouldn't get points off for incorrection. Anyway, meanwhile for Pearl, she went back to the fashion designer club, to the fashion designer station called Lamar, which we talked about earlier. Lamar was a black and pink building. It was a black and pink building, filled to the brim with countless dresses, ties, and a lot of fancy clothes. However, Pearl wasn't really much into fancy fashion. She was more interested in her casual wears and the things that she always liked to wear. She mostly liked to wear skirts and dresses, and that's what made her stand out from other girls in the city. She was practically like a city woman, but also a bit like a capital woman too. So like a capital woman and a capital city woman. As for Jerry, he came back the next day, and things were quite good. Basically, he got back up to room 573. And there, from room 573, he got a special gift. This is probably gonna be the last of his special gifts, but Jerry didn't really mind it. It was from Jason, in fact, and he gave him a gift card into a dessert place. Anyway, Jerry really admired the gift, and he wrote a thank you note to Jason. In the weeks to come, Jerry sent out tons of letters, basically to all the cats who ever supported him, basically wanted them to know that he was incredibly thankful for what they had done to him. And that was practically that. Then there came a special party on Friday. The last 3 days beforehand were normally chill days, and Jerry's condition was getting profoundly better. But on Friday, it marked about 4 complete weeks since Jerry had gotten his first job, and the job in which he started at Capital City Supply Chain Inc. He was pretty excited about the party. He dressed up and put on his new red and blue striped tie. That was his favorite tie that he ever got. And practically his only tie that he still had. He did have ties throughout all his life. However, this one though was his absolute favorite, due to its simple design and its bright colors, and its jaunty attitude. He went to the party, and things were absolutely great. There was refreshments, soda, and countless other things. They had pizza, and this was a fun way to celebrate Jerry, as well as the first full month of his job. It was also the end of the month, so basically at the end of every month, the Capital City Supply Chain Inc. holds a very special party, and this one is specifically to mark the end of the month. And they do this so that way people can have a reminder, and so they have a reminder about this party, and it also reminds them that the month is over, but they should still have fun and celebrate for all the hard work that they've been doing over the last month, and over the last 4 weeks, and about 20 work days. After the party, Sam confronted Jerry. "So, did you see our letters? See my letter?" "Oh yes, I did." "What about me?" said Alex. "Oh yes, I definitely saw yours, Alex." "Well, it's been very nice knowing you." We're always there for you, Jerry." "I know. And that's what makes you special. You're like the special little family of me." And I like that. I know. We're all family here at Capital Supply Chain Inc. Capital C Supply Chain Inc. And we always enjoy having you here. It's been a real pleasure working with you over the last month, and you're gonna meet some entirely new employees as we head on in the months to come. Who knows, maybe there could even be new employees this month. Heck, I heard some employees came in here maybe last week, last 2 weeks, or maybe even 3 weeks ago. So there's always new faces that are emerging in this company. Wow, said Jerry. That does seem pretty impressive. I mean, you have a lot of these employees, and they all work together in unity. And that's what makes this place feel like I belong. Yes, Jerry, you do belong, said Sam. You definitely do belong. You've always belonged here since day one. I used to believe that I didn't belong here at first of all. But now, seeing the person that I am now, and seeing my leadership, I do belong. I hope you feel the same way too. Yes, I kinda do feel the same way. I used to feel like I didn't really belong at all first. Since I felt like I was nothing to this company, I thought I was just an ordinary person, an ordinary job with nothing special about it. But I soon realized that I'm actually much more. I feel much more in my heart now, and it's this really great joy of being here, and that's just what I like most about you. That's what I like most about this company and my job. I've enjoyed here, and I hope I continue to keep growing. Yes, said Alex. We hope you do keep growing, because we want you to be in a place where you belong, and in a place where you feel safe. I'm very glad you were here at this party, and I wish to congratulate you on the next month of your work experience. Thank you. Anyway. And so the three cats went home. Jerry got back in his red car, and he drove home. He was very excited. He closed the door real softly, and came back to tell Pearl that he had just completed his first month of work. His first full month of work. The first 4 weeks and the first 20 work days exactly. Wow, said Pearl, that is pretty unique. I know, said Jerry. It is pretty unique. And that's what makes me, me. It's like a thing that will never ever really be taken away. And I think that's a big reason why I feel like I do matter. Oh, you. And Pearl gave Jerry a big kiss. Mwah. Ah, Shutterbug. Anyway, soon after, the boys came home from school, and they all saw Jerry once again. They congratulated him, and they were also very kind of support to him. They soon had dinner, and things were absolutely a blast that night. They had fun, and they were practically at the time of their lives. Monday was a pretty good day overall. Actually, Monday through Friday was always a good week for Jerry, since they allowed him to grow and have new experiences in his workplace. And from that point on, he would continue to grow and grow until he would eventually become the best possible character, using the skills that he knew now. His journey will be quite long, but he's only just at the very beginning, and that's what makes him a very special worker. Anyway, and that officially wraps up this film. I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that you stay tuned for the next film, Chew and the Final Showdown of the World, the epic conclusion to the epic Chew trilogy, where Chew has to face one final enemy. So he has to face one final enemy, and his Kung Fu days are gonna be over. And soon Kung Fu will be over. But that's another story. I hope, after all, my name is Caleb Burnett. I'm the creator. I made this film entirely by myself. I hope that you have a profoundly good day. And take care. Sincerely, Caleb Burnett. And now the credits will roll, and the characters will now be shown.